Well, it's Pac-12 week, and thought the preseason went well for us. I thought we really accomplished a great deal in all three phases of our football team to get to this point, to be 3-0. I'm really proud of our defense and the way that they've handled the ability to take care of the up-tempo offenses that we've seen for 3 ball games now. I think our tackling has really improved. Love the way that we've pressured the quarterback the last couple ball games, and then obviously creating the turnovers last week. So all the areas defensively that we've tried to really emphasize and work on have shown up. I think offensively, we're really starting to find our stride and our ability to distribute the football offensively and still remain physical up front at the point of attack with the offensive line. And I think Keith's playing at a relatively high level right now. I don't know what his numbers are, but take away probably not a great play call in the first pass of the year for him. He's played relatively flawless for. So with all that being said, we're excited to take on a very good Arizona team here at Husky Stadium. They're obviously extremely talented offensive football team. Kadeem Carey, nation's leading rusher a year ago, and he's a guy that we know we have our work cut out for us in trying to stop him and defend him, as he had obviously a very big game against us a year ago. And the quarterback, Danker, a kid from Torrance, California, for those of you that don't know. He went to the wrong high school, but anyway, I'll talk to him about it in pregame. As a kid who just plays with everything he's got, he's a really fast kid, a great runner, competitive, throws the ball. So we know their tempo is going to challenge us, and the physicality in which they play with up front will challenge us. And then defensively, they've, to their credit, have gotten better and better and better from the beginning of last year through the end of last season into this year. I think that their defense is playing really well. It's a veteran group, a veteran defensive backfield. The Bontarant kid is just an absolute playmaker. I think he has 3 interceptions on the year, and his ability to create turnovers and play in space is not only this year, but showed up a couple years ago as well. So it's going to be a great challenge. We're fired up to be playing in Husky Stadium again. School starts Wednesday. We expect an awesome crowd. The Dog Pack has been amazing here for our first 2 home games. We think they'll be great again. Can't wait to see all the purple in Husky Stadium. It's going to be awesome.
How is Arizona's tempo going to be different than the tempos that you've seen?
Well, I would assume that they're going to try to go really fast. I mean, they went really fast against us last year, faster than anything we've seen so far this year. So it's imperative we do some really good work when we go our goods against our goods, our first offense against our first defense, so that they get that tempo. We did that today, and it was a really good start to the week.
So you trying to see them for Saturday?
Should be fine.
So when you analyze the penalties, and I know you talked about the STEMI issue on Saturday, which ones were considered effort penalties, like you talked about a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
The general thought about some of those?
Well, we got 3 holds on offense. One was a really glaring one on the touchdown run by Dwayne Washington on Eldred Camp. And it's a guy first time playing, first time on the field, and maybe trying a little too hard. So I think that one is very fixable. We had another one on Sifa Tafunga inside, where maybe his hands were a little bit outside and didn't let go of it. And then we had another one there on Mike Christ earlier in the ball game inside that, I thought it was more of a guy blocking a guy really well rather than a hold, but we have to coach it better. There was a real effort play that we have to learn from by Andrew Hudson on the quarterback scramble up the middle, and the quarterback went to slide, and he kind of jumped from behind. And so that was last week, and then 2 weeks ago was the Danny Shelton effort play hitting the quarterback late. So we need to recognize who the quarterback is and that nature. So it's just those things happen. Again, we're going to fix it, and we're going to fix the pre-snap penalties for sure. But some of those effort ones are hard to live with, and I actually touched on it with Pete last night because they're dealing with a little bit of it there with the Seahawks, and we dealt with it at SC a little bit, and now we're getting it. And part of it, I think, is we coach our guys to play really hard, and we coach them to get after it, and they want to get going for the ball to get snapped, and they want to finish blocks, and they want to play with great effort and get to the ball. And so, I think that we're going to have a little bit of this because our guys play really, really hard, and they understand it. But the pre- and post-snap penalties, those are unacceptable, and we'll get those fixed.
Don't you think that
some of the penalties, and I know State had their fair share too. Do you think maybe the refs maybe are still in preseason, maybe a little overzealous, and now that the conference play starting, it might loosen up a little bit?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't count on that. Kim, I can't count on the officials calling it differently as we move into Pac-12 play. We just can't count on that. We have to control what we can control, and that's playing more sound, better football that way. And we can't jump off sides, and we got to learn to block with our hands even better on the inside. And maybe the Pac-12 plays differently than everybody else, but we've got, I don't know, I think 6 of the top 20, again, most penalized teams in the country right now. So, I don't know if Jimmy Moore at UCLA coaches his guys hard like we do, or I don't know, but we're in the same boat again as where we were a year ago. So we'll try to fix it.
So you said that Pitt versus boys and youth is actually at 78% since that passed. What is he doing differently now compared to maybe the way he did last year, besides the obvious the turnover?
Yeah, I think we're playing better one around him. I think our protection is vastly improved up front. I think that there's a real trust going on with Keith and the wide receivers right now of where they need to be and then where they are, and he's throwing the ball with anticipation. I think one thing that goes unnoticed about Keith is how accurately he really throws the football. I mean, I know people see we throw bubble screens and hit screens and things, and they look really easy, but man, for him his ability to catch, get his body right, and get the ball out quickly, and then how accurately he throws those balls to our guys, I think is another real factor in what he's doing. And I think his just preparation is tremendous. I mean, nobody prepares better than the guy, and he knows exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. He's done a really good job with our protections up front of sliding lines and doing things to get himself protected. And he's just got good camaraderie, whether it's Kason Williams, Austin, Kevin Smith, Jadon Mickens, John Ross, the running backs. They're all in the right spot right now of where they need to be, and he's trusting that fact, and he's throwing the ball accurately, and then they're making plays for him. So I think all of it adds up to where he is and why he's completing 78% of the balls right now.
Steve, it's also probably overlooked that in the offense you run, the center's got to get the snap in his hand.
Right.
How's Mike done that, and will you fear that might not go so great?
Well, it was one of the main concerns of going to this offense of we're in the gun, and we're in the gun, exclusively. And so the challenge of that center of it's easy when you're in the first quarter, it's the first couple plays of the game, but as you can get fatigued in the game to stay consistent with those snaps and the snap counts and all those things. So Mike's been very, very impressive. He's probably been the most pleasant surprise of all of the guys up front. Obviously getting Tanagala back at guard has been big for us, but Mike making that move from guard to center for us and managing that ball game has been really impressive.
You talked a lot about the offensive line. How are those guys holding up at this stage overall? Is that something projecting going forward the rest of the season?
I think that they've done really well. I think they take pride in being in great shape, and they play with great effort. I mean, we've been praising them and showing them the film to the entire team, and we're getting these long plays, and the goal for them when we have an explosive play is to finish in the screen of the camera. So when those guys get into the screen, when our guys just get tackled, that tells us they're playing with great effort. And Dexter Charles leads that charge. He's amazing at it. His effort is just unbelievable, and it's contagious with those guys. So I think that they've really embraced it. I think there's a mental toughness about the group that is something that we haven't had here since I've been here, quite honestly. And then our young guys went in and they battled and competed, and they got real quality reps too, so it was good for us.
Steve, what do you see specifically from B.J. Baker on tape, and how is it different from Matt Scott?
Well, I think Matt Scott was a tremendous passer. I mean, I think he was underrated for how accurately he threw the football. I mean, he threw, I think, about 3 or 4 back shoulder fades against Desmond last year that, I mean, you couldn't throw them any better, and BJ is a scrappy guy, man. He's gonna give you all that he has. You can see the way he plays the game. He is really fast. He's really, really fast. And so I think they lean a little bit more on his legs than maybe they did with Matt Scott, where they threw the ball a lot with Matt Scott. This kid's a runner, and he's gonna run. And they pose a lot of unique challenges that way because of there's Kadeem Carey standing next to him, and when they're running all the read option, it's kind of pick your poison. Who do you want carrying the ball, and now you got to try to tackle them.
How much of a theme will last year's game be for this week for you guys?
It really won't be. We're a different team. It's pretty obvious. We're a different team. It's about the process. We've been talking that way, and this week won't be any different. It's us preparing to play a good football team, and to do that, we have to practice really well. And we got off to a great start today. Quite honestly, I thought it was a tremendous Monday practice for the guys. It was very spirited. It was competitive, which is exactly how we like it. The guys were battling there in a 2-minute drill right at the end of practice, and the defense came away victorious right there at the end. And so it's us, Arizona supplying us the information with their formations, their defensive fronts, their blitzes, and all that. Now we have to take the information and apply it to our game plan, and then ultimately the test comes Saturday, and we'll see how we perform.
Sorry, just in general, at any level you coach at, does the idea of revenge play any factor at all?
Yeah, I think that there's some human nature there. I think that's human nature, and it's, if you're a competitive individual, and when somebody beats you in something, you want a chance to try to beat them back and beat them again. And I think the classic ones of those are the old school boxing matches, and those rematch bouts and all those things. I mean, everybody wants a chance at a team again, and I think that's human nature. But that can't be your motivation to want to go out and perform well, or you'll miss the whole process of really preparing to perform well. So, I don't think that, we don't have revenge written on the wall in our locker room that's the sole reason we want to win Saturday. We want to win Saturday because we want to be 1-0 in Pac-12 play, and we want to keep playing good football and embrace the opportunity of this is our third chance out of 7 to play in Husky Stadium in front of our amazing fans.
Coach, you got the chance to play a lot of young guys on Saturday. Any of them impress you enough to earn more playing time?
Well, I think Marcus Faria and Josh Banks did some really good stuff on the defensive line, pressuring the quarterback. I think they had a combined 2.5 sacks. I think we saw the glimpse of what John Ross can be. I mean, that was an electric run there coming off of the bubble screen from Seiler. So hopefully we can continue to try to incorporate him. I think Kevin King played really, really well in the back end, and he's a guy we have high aspirations for. So we want to keep trying to play all these guys. I mean, they've earned the right to play. They're not redshirting now, and so we want to try to utilize them in as many ways as we can.
Any other red shirts possibility that we may see, or is that pretty much?
No, I think that's it. I think the one guy that's probably glaring that I don't know if people saw or not, but Kendall Taylor has not played for us this year intentionally because he has a red shirt in his back pocket that we didn't use last year. And he's at a position right now where he's just behind a couple guys, and so we didn't want to burn his year for 5 or 6 or 10 snaps in one game. So he understands it. Kendall understands it, and so we're hopeful we get to redshirt him. We'll see. Hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have too many serious injuries at his spots that he plays, and be able to utilize his redshirt and save that year and get him back next year.
Is Taz Stevenson on the same track?
Yeah, Taz is out for the year. He's done. He had shoulder surgery.
Talking to John after that crazy punt return, on the field, fumble, how was that conversation?
I just let them know that we're not in the Moore League anymore, and it's not Long Beach Jordan versus Milliken. So he's just got to make good decisions, but he's a confident kid, and he's got a lot of confidence in his ability and his speed, and I don't want to take that away from him, but I do want to help him through the decision-making process and all of that. But I don't think that's the end of him reversing fields and trying to make big plays for us, because that's part of the reason we brought him here. He has that ability. He's just got to make better decisions, and we got to keep working with him on securing the football.
Steve, you guys are third in the country in total offense right now. Are you considering the newness of what you guys are trying to do offensively? Are you surprised with what you see that you got?
I'm not surprised. I'm really pleased. I'm pleased with our ability to execute. I think that the offensive line has really, again, embraced this transition to tempo and speed at which we're working at. I think the system is doing what I was hopeful it would do, and which would emphasize our skilled athletes. And we've got some really skilled, talented football players on our team that when they get the ball in their hands, they can create big plays. And this offense requires great conditioning, and I think our guys are showing that. They're in great physical shape. They're in tremendous mental shape in that they're understanding of the system and grinding through when they may be a little bit fatigued. But more importantly, it's the quarterback distributing the ball to the right people at the right time, accurately, and then those guys utilizing the space that they have or the one-on-one matchups that they have to make people miss and create big plays. And we're getting that, whether it's in the run game out of Bishop and Jesse and those guys, Dwayne, but we're also getting it in the passing game. And so it makes you defend. It makes you defend really 6 players every play, because now with Keith utilizing his legs even more so that each snap, you can't say this is where the ball is going to go. It could be Bishop, it could be Austin, Kaysen, Jadon, Kevin Smith, John Ross, Jesse, the quarterback, and that's exactly where we want to be. That we have so much, kind of a wealth of weapons to go to that you can't just focus on 1 or 2 guys.
Do you feel like these next few weeks in the defense that you're going to face from Arizona will be a true barometer of how successful this offense is?
I think this one for sure. I can't speak on the games down the road. I know they're good teams. I don't know exactly how they're getting it done right now. But I know that this will be a tremendous test for us. Arizona's got a veteran defense, and they know what they're doing. They're extremely well coached, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Have you seen any wrinkles from them early defensively that may be a different thing than what you've seen from them last year?
The defensive line, they've got their 3 big guys. They like to play on their rundowns, and then when they try to get you in the third longs, they're going to sub out and bring in an entirely new defensive front to try to rush the passer, which is a little bit different than before. And they bring in similar to what we do on our third down packages, but a lot of the same cast of characters, and they're good back there, whether Shaq Richardson or McKnight. Like I said, Bontarant, Marquise Flowers, and Jake Fisher. I mean, I feel like I've been playing against those guys now for 4 years, but it's just the same cast of characters, and they're good, and they've gotten better and better and better.
Do you think the key could be to slow down a guy like Carey?
I'm sorry.
To slow down a guy like Carey?
Well, we need to do a really good job at the front line, our defensive line, of not allowing, 1, to get knocked back, and 2, not allowing these big old linemen. They got a big offensive line to get on our linebackers. We want to be able to let our backers run and play in space. And then the second key, which may be even more important, is we have to tackle this guy. And we can't rely on just one guy to tackle him. He's a very violent runner. He does a great job of running through tackles, and so we have to get a lot of hats to the football when he has the ball in his hands.
What about schematically? I mean, obviously last year we just gashed you. What is it? What was it that they did?
Well, we didn't play very good, Elise, and it wasn't just defensively, it was offensively. It was not a very good performance for the Huskies there in Tucson a year ago. So the first and foremost is we have to align properly at the start of the game, and so that we're in our proper gaps. And then we have to tackle them. And then when the quarterback keeps the ball, we have to really do a great job of rallying to the football, and so that they can't it's just option football the whole game. And so that part's first and foremost. They force you in a lot of one-on-one scenarios, whether it's in the run game or the pass game. So we got to have a great deal of confidence in our own ability when they're throwing the ball on the perimeter with the fades and the hitch routes and things, that we can cover them, and then that when they throw it and catch it in front of us, that we can come up and tackle them.
About those, keeping the offensive line on the linebackers, Steve, how long do you think it took Danny Shelton to embrace that to be in his role? Now he's taken up 2 or 3 blocks.
Yeah, he does a great job, Danny. I didn't realize that was his first career sack, by the way, the other night, and we had a big celebration for him in the locker room. It feels like Danny's been here for a long time, but for him to get a sack has been, it's great for anytime a defensive lineman, your morale, that you're able to get a sack, even though the bulk of what you do as a nose tackle and a 3-4 style defense is taking up space and taking up blockers. So I think he really gets it. He understands it. I think John Timu and Totogi and Feeney and Fuimawano remind him of what his job is to make sure that those guys can run and make their plays. So he's doing a good job at it.
Did it take him a while? I mean, most big shot high school kids come in and they want to make all the tackles and have all the stats. Did it take him a while to realize
Well, I think, yeah, I think it's natural for all of our guys, that natural maturity, the just kind of growing up and understanding your role. What I'll say about Danny, what I've been pleased with is his effort. I mean, you're a big guy, you're 340 pounds, and you're playing nose tackle, but he's running to the football. He's playing with really good effort right now, and that effort, that type of stuff that he does, and I know he took the penalty a couple weeks ago chasing down the quarterback, but that stuff's contagious, and your younger players see that, and they see a big old bear in the middle of your defense running around playing with good effort. That motivates them to do it as well on a daily basis. So I've been impressed with him that way.
Sark, what have you seen out of Marcus Faria that makes you feel like he can really make an impact this year?
He's practiced really good. He had a good week 2 weeks ago. Going into the Illinois game, he was our scout team player of the week, and he is a handful for our guys on the offense when he's up with the scout team. And he came out again Tuesday and had another really good practice. And so we said, well, we got to find a role for this guy because he's a very physical guy. He's extremely quick twitched. He's explosive coming off the edge, and I think he can help us. And credit to the defensive staff to find him a role for the defense. And he went out and played well. So hopefully we can continue to build upon that because I think he has the physical attributes to be a very good player for us.
Steve Bishop's okay after Saturday?
He's fine.
Can you touch on your relationships with Don James and his legacy here?
Yeah. Coach James set the standard for this program and for all of us. It's the reason you guys are all sitting here. It's the reason I'm here. I mean, Husky football and what it all stands for is what he created. And, I was so happy that he was able to come to the first game against Boise and the opening of new Husky Stadium because if anybody deserved to be in that building that night, it was him. And I've grown to get close to Coach James and Carol. I spoke to Carol Friday night before the game from my hotel room just to check in on Coach, and we'll continue to do so. I know that he got a chance to watch the game on television Saturday, and so we're pulling for him. I know he's fighting. We're praying for him, and the treatment that he's going through is in for a battle because it's going up against a tough one. And Coach James, he's going to fight it for sure.
Hey, Sark, you mentioned a brief conversation with Pete about penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like for both of you guys, now that you're more established in this market, you guys talk about your interactions more, where you were more careful before. I mean, was that kind of purposeful? I mean, is that real that before you guys wanted to kind of minimize the USC thing and establish yourself here?
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional, Jerry. I don't by any means. I think that Pete, and I've said it numerous times, he's a tremendous mentor of mine. I mean, I worked for him for 7.5 years, and a lot of really kind of moments of that growth for me, whether it was on the football field, in meetings, in life, whatever it was. And I don't know, maybe subconsciously neither of us wanted it to be about USC. I'm up here coaching the Washington Huskies. He's up here coaching the Seattle Seahawks. I think both of our programs have improved since we've arrived, and I think we're proud of that. We're different people, there's no doubt, but I think both of our teams play really hard. I think both of our teams play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I think there's some natural connections there. So I wasn't intending on saying I talked to Pete to validate our penalties by any means. Just because Pete's team gets penalties doesn't mean ours, it's okay for us to. But I think he's done a great job, and they play like crazy. They play hard football. They play really good in all three phases, and we're fortunate to have that relationship where we can lean on them, not just from the head coach's standpoint, but from some schematic standpoints. And they're fun to watch and fun to be around.
With classes starting, something that takes a little bit of attention away from football, do you have to do anything different to keep these guys focused on testing?
Well, I think that's natural, especially for the freshmen. It's their first time being in the dorms and going to class and all those things. I think they're the most natural ones. A little bit differently what we've done this year as opposed to in years past, because this has been it's always a concern of mine. We haven't changed our practice schedule once, and we practice at the same time every single day, even when school wasn't in. And in years past, We sometimes practiced at night if it was going to be a night game, or midday if it was going to be a midday game. We've stayed in the morning every single day, so hopeful that the routine of the day doesn't have to change that much for the players, and that when they get up, when practice is, when our afternoon meetings are after class and things, and when dinner is and all that shouldn't change for them. But they're going to school now, and their time management is critical. And then their ability to go to sleep at night is vitally important so they can get up in the morning and be productive on the practice field.
For you guys to start 3-0 the first time in more than a decade, you get the sense that the way you've done it a lot is the defense, the ranking of top of the Pac-12, you're top in almost everything. It's not just you guys get a sense that there's something special on here, but a lot of people outside of this voter starting to notice that you know
I don't know. You'd have to kind of ask them. I think our fans are fired up, which is great, and that's why I'm pumped to see them Saturday. We need their support, and I think it's going to be a rocking environment at Husky Stadium at 4 o'clock. I think our students are jacked. The dog pack has been awesome for 2 straight home games again. I think first week of school they're going to be fired up. I think 4 o'clock's probably the right kickoff time for those guys, to get ready to go. And all in all, I believe we're a good football team. But again, everything else outside of our locker room and our university is perception, and it's how people perceive you. And so as we keep moving through this thing, hopefully people perceive us as a pretty good team.
Coach, one of the guys that just seems to be playing really well, nobody's talking much about this, it just seems to be with his job as Marcus Peters. How well is he really playing, and him playing that well? What's it do for you?
Marcus is playing extremely well. I think he showed again, another guy. He's in his 3rd year in the program now. Just the maturity he's possessed through the process. I thought he was lights out against Boise, and I thought he played a good game against Illinois. But he had a couple plays in there that weren't characteristic of what he'd been doing, and his credit came right back and went out and had another great game against Idaho State. So it's just the maturation process for Marcus. He's a physical guy. He's very confident in his own ability, which you have to be to play that position. And we're for the stuff we're doing and a lot of the man principles that we play on the perimeter, it's important for him to be able to play that way, and he's doing it.
It looks like he's had some success coming off the border.
Sure. Well, he's a physical guy, and we do like to bring our corners in some pressures, whether it to be against the run or the pass. And he's coming off the edge, and he's making tackles in the running game, which a year ago maybe he might have missed a tackle or two in that same scenario. But he's got a real belief in his tackling ability. He is one of our better tacklers on our defense, and sometimes you don't think that because he plays cornerback, but he's so long and rangy and physical. He is a very good tackler for us, and I think that all pays dividends for us, and that's why we're able to bring him off the edges.
So, Coach Kramer had some pretty glowing comments about you guys and your staff post-game against Idaho State. Did you get a chance to see them at all?
I heard about it, and we had exchanged some afterwards, and I appreciate him saying that. I mean, we play the way we play, and I respect the game of football and respect our opponents and those kids, whoever we play. It's not about what uniforms they're wearing or where they're from. I just think there's a way you play this game, I'd appreciate the same in return if we were ever in that situation. But the reality of it is, I always want to try to keep the football gods on my team, and so you never want to piss those guys off.
That being said, did you see the end of the Idaho-Washington State game?
I did not know.
The majority of Pac-12 programs now are moving up tempo.
Yeah.
How much is that changing your preparation? How much does it change?
Well, I think it's huge in preparation, and to go back a little bit to this game a year ago, I felt like Arizona's tempo got us. And this is part of the reason why we are doing what we're doing offensively, is to prepare for this game, so that when teams go to this up-tempo style against us, we don't become uncomfortable on defense. We remain comfortable. It's an arena that we're used to being in, that we're used to excelling in. And so I think that this up-tempo style that so many people are playing at, it's really the norm now. It's not abnormal. It is what people are doing in college football, and you better be prepared to defend it, or what happened to us a year ago at Arizona, it will happen to you. They get going on you.
All right, everybody, thank you very